What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports here to give you the edge for this NBA 1026 slate on DraftKings. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.dgfantasy.com. On dgfantasy.com, we give you cheat sheets for every major sport, along with ownership projections, actual projections, and strategy for every single slate. We also cover optimal cash plays as well as preferred GPP plays and stacks for specific contest sizes. We do the dirty work for you. We are also currently partnered with Fantasy Cruncher, the best optimizer in the industry. When signing up for our $30 package, you also get a $20 credit to use towards any Fantasy Cruncher product. We provide the best value in the industry. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 5-game slate on DraftKings, but first I want to show you guys some success that we had in our Discord chat. And again, you can grab an updated membership and visit our premium Discord chat where all of our coaches will be helping you guys out and sending winning screenshots. So let's actually check out the winning screenshots tab. We had a takedown. This was $5,000 to first. Obviously tied a bunch of ways here. One of our coaches for League of Legends killed it. Worlds will start up on Saturday morning, and we will have a cheat sheet posted for that, as well as ownerships and all those good projections. So yeah, 5K the first here, and obviously split it with a bunch of people. And nonetheless, still made a lot of money there. And then we had a close takedown. I believe this was $1 turned into $19 in the showdown slate. We had an emojiis success story here. $20 turned into $483. 5 turned into $329 in that one contest. And this was in a 25-cent contest. So congrats to that member. We had another close takedown. It looks like this was the same guy that just was up here in NBA as well. So $25 won there. We had $17 turned into $114 close takedown, and another takedown success story here. $180 won overall. Also want to go over our new format here for NBA. So if you guys haven't signed up for dgfantasy.com, if you're watching us for the very first time, this is what our cheat sheet looks like. First of all of our projections will be uploaded here. You can download them and put them in the optimizers. Of course, we have the ownership projections. All this is loaded from yesterday. I will update it right after this video. But on top of that, you also get cores. You get our favorite cash plays at every single position, as well as our DK cores. And then some of our coaches post their favorite cores for DraftKings, and JQ also posts it for FanDuel. We also have our favorite GPP leverage plays here, where we list all of our plays. We had some bangers yesterday for that. And then our late swap priority list. Whenever somebody is ruled out, we come right here and we update a priority list based on who you should pivot to. One of the biggest edges that we have in NBA is utilizing late swap. So if you guys are interested, again, $20 a month gives you access to all this for every single sport, including NFL showdowns, NBA, golf, League of Legends, MMA. I can keep going down the list, but we have 8 total sports on the website that we cover. I spend all day in front of my computer and updating all of these projections for every single sport. But now let's focus on this NBA 5-game slate. Not too big, not too small, just right there in the middle. I do like these contests. I do like these slate sizes. So let's go ahead and focus team by team. What I do is I go over the injury report. And in this video, I'll go ahead and go team by team just because there is only 5 games. And I have a good grasp of every single game and what every single team looks like in terms of the rotations now. We've had almost a week now to kind of observe this and see what each team does. Starting with Philly, we have Andre Drummond and both Joel Embiid questionable. That will shake up things if Joel Embiid is ruled out. And we'll have to revisit Philly here. If anybody is ruled out, I will pin the comment in the YouTube comment section below if anybody is ruled out. So keep your eye on that and the Philly news. Also, we'll be discussing that a little bit later on our live stream. With the Knicks, we just have Nerlens Noel. He is questionable. That really won't shake things up too much because he's been out some of these games here to start the season. With Golden State, we have Iggy. He is now probable. He was questionable here to start the morning. Kuminga, Thompson, Wiseman officially out. That's the same kind of picture there. With OKC, we have Derek Favors officially out. That does change up some things. We will visit that here in a little bit. With Houston, John Wall still out. Doesn't really impact anything. Dallas, nothing going on there. With the Lakers, nothing going on that impacts them too much. Same thing with the Spurs. And last but not least, we have the Denver Nuggets here with Jamal Murray out. He's been out for a little bit. And same thing with Rudy Gay. So nothing really to monitor other than this Philly news and obviously any surprising injury news that comes out a little bit later on in the day. So I do want to pay attention here to Philly. If Joel Embiid is rolled out, yes, it's going to completely change the landscape of the slate. But let's go with what we know right now. We're going to go team by team. Like I said, I'm going to brush over here the 76ers. Everybody's going to be GPP plays until we hear more news on Joel Embiid. Right now, he is actually going to be a good GPP play and actually relatively cheap at 9.8K. If he continues to get 30 plus minutes with that banged up sore knee, then yes, he's just going to be a GPP play. Anything else, I probably wouldn't lean on him in cash just because we aren't really sure of his injury report or his status. So at 11.9%, definitely consider him a GPP play. By the way, we do have ownerships for you bright and early here, provided by Fantasy Cruncher. But yeah, it's just going to be GPP plays here for me. This isn't a slight pace down spot with Tyrese Maxey at 6K. He is priced up. Same thing with Tobias Harris at 8K. Really have no interest unless Joel Embiid is ruled out. Switching over to the Knicks, I want to talk about the Knicks because they always play minutes, and the price tag did come down here on RJ Barrett, so I actually like RJ Barrett. Hasn't got off to the most productive start, but as you can see here, 33 minutes did get 25 in the blowout and 47 points. We expect this game here against Philly to be relatively close, and as you guys can see, when he does play in close games, he gets over 33 minutes plus. So, like him at 5.6K, I don't mind him in cash. I actually want to land on him just because it is a close competitive matchup, and he's projected to get 34 points. Julius Randle, another person I want to talk about here, 9.5K. This guy has been crushing it to start the season. I do consider him more GPP viable, but I wouldn't hate you if you do play him in cash. He is power forward eligible, which makes him very flexible in terms of lineup construction. He can also play center, so again, you can pick and choose. Does play extreme minutes. We know that Thibodeau rolls out a lot of minutes for his Knicks starters here. 38, 30, and 46 minutes. This was a 30-minute game here just because of the blowout. They absolutely dominated in Orlando. Everybody else is just going to be GPP plays. Really have no interest outside of those two with RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. But going down to the Golden State Warriors, this team is another interesting team in terms of cash. We have Andrew Wiggins, who got a price decrease here to 5.8K. I do like that price tag on Andrew Wiggins. I will say I know how much I hate on Andrew Wiggins. He's been playing 31, 26 minutes. It looks like Jordan Poole is actually eating into his minute production, which is kind of scary. One of these two should have a good game, but again, Andrew Wiggins did come down in price, 5.8K, 25.6%. He technically is projected more than Jordan Poole. I don't know if I agree with that 35-point projection, but yes, I do consider him as a last piece in cash. I'm not thrilled about it, but he does have a good matchup here versus OKC. Same thing with Jordan Poole, 5.9K here at 19.1% ownership. I was on the Jordan Poole train last game just because I knew he was only playing 25 minutes, and he's a starter, so he's expected to play 30 plus minutes. He did get 32 last game and is a better fantasy point per minute player than Andrew Wiggins. So I do prefer Jordan Poole at 5.9K. I know it's $100 more, but he's just a safer option and has more upside. So I like him here as a cash consideration at 19.1% projected ownership. Keep in mind, this is for big GPPs. This is the biggest GPP projection ownership. So keep that in mind. These aren't cash considerations. Like, yes, Andrew Wiggins will probably be closer to about 40% owned. Same thing with Jordan Poole. And also Steph Curry at 11K. What a fantastic start he's gotten off to here. Playing 36, 38, and 35 minutes consistently. At 11K, he's hit his price point every single game. In order to hit his price point, he only has to get to 55 points. He's gotten 58, 65.5, and 58.75 points. So yes, Steph Curry is definitely a cash consideration if you can find the value to land on him. I want to try to get Steph Curry in my lineup. I think he's the best overall pay-up option and also the safest pay-up option. I know it's a pace down spot here for Steph Curry, but I really do like him here at 18.6% ownership. Draymond Green, Damian Lee's another cash consideration as the last piece, 3.8K. He's not my favorite option, but he has been getting consistent minutes, and in order to hit that 3.8K price tag, he has to get to about 18, 19 points, and he's just fallen short in his previous two contests. So I'm not thrilled about Damian Lee. I'd probably consider him more for GPPs, and same thing for Draymond Green at 7.1K. Definitely don't like that price tag. Moving on to the OKC Thunder. Lou Dort got the start last game at 4.7K. We're used to seeing him getting consistent minutes, at least from last season, and he did get 24 points. He played 37 minutes, so I don't know if that's a reoccurring theme that we're going to see. I don't know if that's affected here by Derek Favors being out. Regardless of the situation, if Lou Dort's going to continue to see 30 plus minutes, 35 plus minutes, then yes, I do consider him as a last piece in cash. Right now, we have him projected for 27 DK points at 27.1% ownership in a pace-up spot. I know he's not the best usage player. He's more of a defensive player, but if he's putting up 11 shots at 4.7K with high minutes, sign me up for Lou Dort. I actually don't mind him here in cash. He's a good mid-range option here at 4.7K. Darius Bazley, another guy that is playing consistent minutes, played 32 last game, and again, I don't know if that's because of Derek Favors being out, because he technically does play the power forward center spot, so that could affect his rotation. But at 30 projected minutes here at 25.1% ownership, I don't hate it. Again, this is a pace-up spot versus the OKC Warriors. When they played Philly and Utah, they've had really bad offensive outputs. Right now, they are projected 107 points, which is above their season average as of right now. So keep that in consideration when taking a look at these box scores. It really doesn't matter at this point. SGA, I was all on the SGA train last game. Dropped 252. I don't think he does that again. He definitely could, given the up-pace spot. But given his ownership here at 18.1 projected ownership, I only consider him for GPPs. Definitely not a safe play, especially on this OKC Thunder team. They are always projected to score a lower amount of points than the regular NBA team. He's projected at 41 DK points, so take that as you will. Just GPPs for me. Josh Giddey priced accordingly, in my opinion, at 5.8K. We have him projected at 28 points. And then also a couple players I want to touch base on here. A little bit lower down the list. Isaiah Roby did start last game, but only played 10 minutes. He wasn't in foul trouble. Don't know if there's anything going on there. But if he does start and play over 20 minutes, Isaiah Roby is in an absolute smash spot. So I'm willing to take a stab on him in GPPs at 3.7K. Don't mind that. We haven't projected at 0% ownership. That will come up. I think that's just an error here for Fantasy Cruncher. But Isaiah Roby, definitely a consideration in GPPs, especially if he does start. And in the same sentence, I can also talk about Muscala. Did play 16 minutes and easily hit his price point at 3.5K. I think he can do that again. If he continues to play 16 plus minutes, Mike Muscala is definitely a more efficient fantasy point per minute player. So I do like him or Isaiah Roby. One of those two should be playing more. Him, Baisley, and Isaiah Roby should be playing decent amount of minutes here in the center spot. Switching down to the I was about to call them the Texans, the Houston Rockets here. All these guys are priced pretty accordingly. I wouldn't touch these guys outside of bigger GPPs. They do have some playmakers here with Jalen Green. What a beast he's been turning into at 48 DraftKings points. Last game, shot 8 of 10 from 3. So if you guys are looking for GPP plays, I would target the Houston Rockets. Christian Wood has also been boomer bust. So definitely cash or GPP considerations here going through the ownership 17, 13.7%. We have 11.4%. And 10.6%. So those ownerships are all really low on some of these superstars from the Houston Rockets. Switching over to the Dallas Mavericks, we have Dwight Powell. He is definitely a cash consideration and probably the overall best value on the slate. If he is going to start and play 25 plus minutes, sign me up for Dwight Powell. 3.3K, he only has to get to about 17 DraftKings points. Did hit 20.5 points in a very good matchup here against Houston. They're projected to score 116 points, so the pace should be relatively high, and we have him projected for 22 minutes. I do like him here, and I think he's the more obvious value play on the slate, 28.8%. Again, if he starts, he is the more obvious value play on the slate. Jalen Brunson next in line did get a green light at the beginning of the season to play more minutes this season. Next to Luka Doncic has played 24, 26, and 23 minutes in his first 3 contests. So an average of about 24 minutes, and that's exactly what he's projected. 4.2K, I do like him as a last piece in cash. I don't mind him showing 24.9% ownership, so teetering on that line between GPP and cash consideration. A good fantasy point per minute player historically. So as a last piece in cash, definitely don't mind that for Jalen Brunson. At 4.2K, I do prioritize Dwight Powell over him. And then Luka, I think he is cash consideration, but I do like Steph Curry a little bit more, just given the upside and based on what he's been doing. Also, the Warriors are projected to score overall more points, so at 10.9K, I do like him as a pivot here in smaller GPPs. If you can get Luka and Steph into your lineup, by all means, feel free to do that. I do like Luka. He's my next favorite superstar here on this slate. The rest of these guys are just going to be GPP considerations for me. Going down to the Lakers, what a mess these guys have been. Right now, they're all projected 48, 48, and 47 points from the 3 superstars. There's not one guy I prioritize over the other. Again, it's going to be like this all season long. Specifically in this matchup versus Spurs, we know that they play small ball, or the Spurs tend to play small ball. So Anthony Davis is a very good matchup at 14% ownership. Yes, he's a good GPP option. He's probably my favorite out of the 3. But other than like Anthony Davis, again, I don't really want to touch these guys. I'm not confident in any one of these plays, especially some of these lower tier guys. Like Kent Bazemore was expected to play starter minutes, which he has, but hasn't been getting starter production. 8.9% usage, 10.7, and 12.9. So I really wouldn't touch any one of these guys. You do have to have one of these 3 guys in some of your GPP plays because they do have ceiling potential every single game, just given the Lakers lineup. And then my San Antonio Spurs. These guys overall are the best value, mid-range, and cheaper options here on the slate. They're the safest options. And I'll tell you why here. Last season, we weren't used to seeing DeJounte Murray play 35 plus minutes consistently, and to start the season, he has been playing pretty good minutes, 31, 35, and 34. If you remember back to last season, we're used to seeing him between 28 and 30 minutes. It looks like Pop is giving him the green light, which is something I was kind of expecting. It's just so weird to see from a Pop-led offense. 34 projected minutes is what we have here for DeJounte Murray, and we have projected at 39 total DraftKings points. At 7.3K, he has high usage. He's getting the green light to start, and he has to perform well if they want to stay competitive here with the Lakers. So DeJounte Murray is my overall favorite favorite play on the slate. Again, he should be priced, closer to 8K for it to make more sense. They are projected to score 110 points, which isn't too bad. And the Lakers have been off to a very bad start. So I could easily see the Spurs winning this game, especially with DeJounte Murray at 7.3K, one of my favorite overall plays on the slate. Another great play here is going to be Keldon Johnson, 5.2K. He definitely is showing good ownership as well. I do consider him a decent option in cash. At 5.2K, I consider him almost as good of a play here, if not better than DeJounte Murray. Has been stepping up offensively and has been also playing minutes 28, 37, and 29 minutes in his last 3 contests. And like I said, his usage has been up from last season. If we take a look at his usage rate here, 31.1%, which is pretty high, 24.4 and 25. So that's nothing to really turn your eye away from. Definitely like DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson in this offense to start the season. Derek White is also just as obvious of a play, if not more obvious. You can take your stab at Derek White. These two are cheaper, and in terms of value, DeJounte Murray does make more sense just because historically he's a better fantasy point per minute player than Derek White. So you can land on Derek White. I won't hate you for it, but at 6.5K just doesn't make as much sense. I probably won't have him in my cash build, but again, a very good GPP option and just as much upside as these other 2 players here on the Spurs. And Jakob Poeltl doesn't have that crazy high usage rate, but he does have crazy high minutes. He's been playing 30, 26, and 35 minutes his past 3 games. So you love to see that. Another player that suffered from not playing too many minutes last season, and he has been playing minutes. And at a 5.6K price tag, he's actually my next obvious option here on the Spurs. If I had to prioritize these Spurs, it would be DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl, and then Derek White, and all of them are cash considerations. And I honestly wouldn't mind playing all 4 of these Spurs in a cash build. I don't think I'm personally going to do it, but these all make very good sense here, especially given their value. And switching down to the Denver Nuggets versus the Utah Jazz, really nobody I want to consider from this lineup. Michael Porter Jr. burned so many people last night. He was at 6K, and I think he only scored 26 points, so he didn't hit value quite. I mean, he didn't do horrible, but just given his minutes, you can't trust his minutes at this point. Only played 27. He was projected for 34. He's still carrying a decent amount of ownership. I'm probably going to avoid him here in this very bad matchup versus Utah Jazz. But another guy I want to talk about here is Jokic. Jokic is the other stud pay-up option here on the slate. The one thing that Jokic benefits from in this matchup is that he should be playing the entire game because Rudy Gobert, we know, is one of the best defensive players in the league. If they want to keep it competitive, Jokic is going to have to be out there 35 plus minutes. So really like the reigning MVP in this contest, specifically just to play a ton of minutes. And I think he has a tremendous amount of upside, even given the matchup here. He should be playing the entire game. The offense should revolve around him, and he has to get it going if they want to keep it competitive. So my favorite GPP play overall on the slate is going to be Jokic here at 10.6K. And outside of those 2 players, I really wouldn't consider anybody else. Not too much upside. And then last but not least, we have the Utah Jazz. I really don't like this team in general. Mike Conley is cheap at 5.7K, but he's only been playing upwards of 30 minutes, so I don't like his minute uncertainty there at 20.8%. Of course, Rudy Gobert is always a GPP consideration. Donovan Mitchell always has potential to break the slate. So yes, if you want to consider them in GPPs, for sure, by all means, feel free to include them in your player pool. But that will be it. Let's go ahead and build a lineup, giving some of my favorite plays. If I had to build a lineup right now, I'm going to DeJounte Murray. I feel like he's a more obvious play on the slate. Dwight Powell, Keldon Johnson, and I'm also locking in, no bias, Jakob Poeltl, if I can find him. I think those are the most obvious plays on the slate, and maybe Lou Dort at 4.7K is really going to come down to builds. Another guy I'm looking directly at is going to be Jalen Brunson. If I had to build a lineup based on our projections, it's throwing in Luka and Porzingis. I don't know if I like Porzingis in this matchup, especially having both of these players in. They cancel out each other in terms of their upside because they're both primary scorers. It's throwing Kent Bazemore in there. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't do that. So let's go ahead and lock in some more players. Lou Dort. And let's go with Jalen Brunson. What does that give me? Let's go ahead and increase the salary to $49,900. Oh, and I can't build a lineup with that. So let's get rid of Dort. All right. If I had to build a lineup right now, I'd still throw in Porzingis in there. All right. You know what? Let's go with Steph. Give me Steph. Give me a lot of Steph Curry tonight. Okay. If I was building a lineup, it would look something similar to this. I don't know why Porzingis is my last piece. I'd probably mix and match between Andrew Wiggins and Porzingis, but I'm locking in Steph Curry. I'm getting in Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl, and Dwight Powell. Those are my favorite options as of right now. And of course, the Philly 76ers news will definitely shake up the slate, but that will be my breakdown, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this breakdown. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.